In today's high-pressure environment, leaders are often overwhelmed by stress, affecting their mental health and ability to lead effectively. Now, recognizing and addressing these challenges is essential for both personal well-being and organizational success. Let's discuss.
Welcome to Leadership is Changing. Each week, we and our guests provide information and insights through exploring leading change. This is taking your leadership to another level by finding the balance between executive excellence and personal well-being through stories that inspire real change. It's time to adapt in our fast-moving world when leadership is changing with your host, Denis Gianoutsos.
Hey there, listeners. Welcome to the Ask Dennis episode. This is a freestyle episode where I'm asked a question by our listeners, or I share my thoughts and experiences and insights from working with many leaders around the globe. Well, listeners, you would have noticed that I've been doing quite a few mashups of lately, and I've had listeners say to me, hey, which episode should I start with in the whole podcast? Now, if you think about it, we're up to episode, this one being 616-ish, somewhere around there. And you can imagine it, right? It's quite daunting and overwhelming for people to understand where they should start. So what I've decided to do is do some mashups, as we call it, and I do them every now and then. And that is to give people a glimpse or a snippet of the certain episode interview that I've done over the past 4 years. And what I do is I do that a little bit, 5 to sort of 7, 8 minutes worth of that kind of interview to give the listener a little bit of a taste of that interview, that actual episode. Now, if they want more, they can go to that episode and listen to it more and listen to it in full, which they'll get a lot of value out of it. So that's why I've been doing the mashups. But you know what, listeners? I'm amazed of how many leaders have come to talk to me with me of late. Now, it's not because they're coming to talk to me. No, they come and talk to me all the time. But a lot of them at the moment are stressed and overwhelmed. In fact, some of them are beside themselves and don't know which way is up. In fact, they are emotional and not in a good space. Not in a good space around their thinking more than anything. For some of them, it's their health as well in the relation to their physical health. In other words, blood pressures, all sorts of things going on for them. Now, good on them for opening up to someone and sharing their burdens, their thoughts and emotions. I'm going to highly recommend you do that. Because you see, in today's fast-paced, high-pressure work environments that we work in, leaders are expected to be the role model of resilience and composure. My question is, do you? Do you really need to be resilient all the time? Because you know what? I mean, I don't think we are all resilient. Because you see, when you're in the middle of something and something is happening, you and I are just trying to cope with what's going on, but that's how we build our resilience over time through that kind of experience. Now, however, the relentless demands can often lead to stress and overwhelm, and that significantly can impact your mental health. Now, the thing here is that whoever you are and whatever you're doing, so if you think about a racehorse cannot keep racing all the time, and you'll notice that they'll put them out to the paddock for a few weeks to recharge and recover. It's the same thing with a Formula One racing car, or even your own car. Airplanes are built to fly, and that's understandable, and to be up there in the air, but they will bring them down at times to be on the ground for maintenance, for them to recharge, reset, make sure they're okay before they can go out again. Because if you don't look after the plane, the Formula One, the horse, or yourself, then over time, it's not going to be great. So how do you recognize the signs of knowing how to address those signs or those things that are going on? And all of this is actually really quite crucial for both you as an individual, your teams, and of course, your leadership that you may be following as well. Now, there's a caution that I want to give you here as a listener. There's one thing I want to say, and that is, whether this is you or your team member, get professional help. Don't be a hero. Now, as leaders, remember, when you see team members of your organization and they may be going through things, please understand that you're not a professional counselor. That's not you. You're a leader. Now, the thing here is knowing the balance of when you need to hand over to the professionals. It's really important that you understand this, because for some of you, you may try to be the counselor and it's not your role. It's not what you can do. Yes, you should be able to have conversations with people, but they need to have, there comes a time for some, not everybody, for some, where they might need extra professional help. Now, there's nothing wrong in getting professional help. It doesn't mean you are weak. I've had to talk to people I trust, or professionals who have been recommended to me, and share where I'm at and what's going on for me. Now, the majority of time, it's just the sharing with someone that helps a lot. Now, as I said earlier, recognizing the signs and knowing how to address them is crucial for both you as a leader, you as an individual, and your teams. So I'm going to go through 5 of them right now on those signs of stress and overwhelm and leaders and how to recognize them. Now, leaders tend to be quite skilled at masking their stress, but certain signs can indicate they are struggling. And in my title of this episode, I have the words, the silent strain. And it does come behind and hit you from behind, and it is silence. Stress can be silent, and you may not know what's going on for you. Burnout can be like that as well. So, number 1 is that chronic fatigue. Persistent tiredness, regardless of the rest that you've had, can actually indicate burnout. In other words, you're always tired, even though you've had 8 hours sleep, or you wake up tired, or you're doing things, but you just feel like you're flat and you're fatigued. Number 2 is that you can be irritable, or you have mood swings. So you might have heightened irritability, can be heightened, if I can put it that way. You may be frustrated, and you may have some sudden mood changes. Now, you notice that some leader goes through that, or yourself, that when you snap sometimes at people over the smallest little things, and it's amazing. Notice how I said the smallest little things? Interesting. Some people say to me, yeah, but a small thing can't be that impactful. Okay, well, what about a mosquito in your bedroom at nighttime? For a lot of people, that can be quite impactful, right? Number 3 is decreased productivity. There's a noticeable drop in efficiency and productivity levels. You're not getting the deadlines done, or you're not getting to things right away. You're delaying and procrastinating and so forth. Number 4 is isolation. So they start to withdraw from social interactions or avoiding team engagements. Now, for a lot of people working from home, they are doing that at the moment, but we can't see them all the time because they are working from home. There are people who are sort of withdrawing. So either it could be a work function or it could be a team meeting they're not actually turning up to. Number 5, there could be some physical symptoms. So you've got frequent headaches, muscle tension, and other stress-related items. Now, headaches is a big one. A lot of it's because they're not actually drinking a lot of water, and they can be quite stressed. And so the muscles in the neck and the head are actually carrying that weight, that stress as well. So those are the 5 different things that you could sort of recognize the signs of stress and overwhelm in leaders. Same for also for your team. But another one could be the fact that they're not turning up. And so the fact that they are absent from work, calling in sick on a regular basis, or that has changed for them because normally they're at work all the time, and now all of a sudden they're not, that could be another sign. But what are some strategies for leaders to combat stress and overwhelm? Now, I'm going to go through 5, but once again, there's more, right? There's a lot more than just these 5. Number 1 is prioritize self-care. Now, some listeners are going to go, here we go, Dennis, again. Because a lot of this episode, this actual podcast is about executive excellence, but it's also about your personal well-being and being able to work and lead as an executive at an excellent sort of level. Self-care is not a luxury. It's a necessity, right? And that's actually something for you to think about. Leaders should ensure that they get adequate sleep and you eat. Your nutrition should be really good in what you're eating, and engage in regular physical activity. What do I mean by that? Do I mean by physical activity having to go to the gym all the time? No. But what happens if you go out for a 30-minute walk and try and get some hills or steps into it at least? But go for a walk. Start there and see where it goes. If you can take breaks and setting boundaries between work and personal life, that can help maintain a healthy balance. It's about turning off your laptop when you need to and having it closed down so then you're not tempted to go back. For some of you, you are still tempted, right? For a lot of you, you have a smartphone, and it's quite interesting to see how many people are going to dumb phones, as we call it nowadays. In other words, they don't have that internet connectivity and so forth for them to be surfing the web and so forth. They just are just a phone with some numbers, buttons, and things like that, and they keep it very simple. So number one is prioritize self-care. I would say to you that the biggest thing that you could do is to actually go out and walk every single day if you can. If you're able to do that and go out and walk every single day, go do 30 minutes to 45 minutes, you will start to see a big difference in 1, 2, 3 weeks' time from now. Number two is seek support. Now, it's crucial for leaders to build a support network around you. Now, there's two things, right? So I always keep saying that leaders are slacking in the way of they don't go out and network enough. Networking is one, building relationships and for business and so forth, but a support network is people around you who are going to help you. Now, that can include mentors, coaches, peers, and mental health professionals. Talking about challenges and getting advice and providing new perspectives and alleviating that sense of isolation, right? Somebody you talk it through with and give you a different perspective, it's amazing how it can change things for you as well. Number three is delegate and empower. Effective delegation not only eases the leader's workload, but also empowers the team members. See, if you trust the team to handle responsibilities, fosters that sort of collaborative environment and ensures tasks are completed efficiently without overburdening any one individual. So if you can delegate, in the same time, you're actually going to empower people. It's smart. The number of leaders that don't delegate. Why? Oh, it's just easier for to do it than if I do it myself, Dennis. I get that. But you know what? You're not teaching others. You're not giving them opportunities like you were given. That's why you are where you are today. Number four, practice mindfulness and stress management techniques. Okay, what do we mean by this one? Well, mindful practices could be things along the lines of meditation, deep breathing exercises, yoga. All of that can help considerably reduce stress levels. Meditation, I do it, and I do it on a regular basis. Probably I should do it more. But you know what? I do it, and it's great. There's the deep breathing exercises within that meditation. But I tell you what, when I actually do it, I've got so much more energy. Now, that's quite interesting, right? So taking time out to do this meditation, breathing exercises can actually help reduce the stress levels. But for me, it actually gives you more energy. But if you can sort of incorporate these kind of practices into your daily routines, then it's actually going to help you focus, maintain that focus, and manage stress more effectively. Well, the fifth one here is foster a supportive work environment. See, if you can create a culture of openness and support within the team, that's going to be really quite cool for you and the team as well. I think you should, have regular check-ins with people and promote a healthy work-life balance and provide resources for mental health support. The thing here is this: recognizing and addressing signs of stress in team members promptly can prevent burnout and promote the overall well-being of the individual and the organization. Now, what happens, we talked about leaders, right? We've talked about, if we to change lens here and think about a bit more about how do you support staff through stress and overwhelm? Well, when a leader notices, now sometimes the leader may not notice, right? Because there might be another team member that comes to you and tells you that something's going on. But when a leader notices a team member showing signs of stress, it's really important for you to address it with empathy and support. If you haven't seen a video that I've talked about in other episodes, it's on YouTube, about 2.5 minutes long. It's awesome. Empathy versus Sympathy by an author called Brene Brown. And you want to check that one out. Once again, we don't want you to be the hero here. If you think if you think they need professional help, then get that for them. Make sure that they do that. So here are some areas for you to start thinking about how you can support your staff through stress and overwhelm. Number one is going to be open communication. You can initiate a private but also supportive conversation with them, encouraging them to share their concerns, what's going on for them. Here's a key for you to think about though. Put down your pen or put down the phone. Be present with them. Because when you put those things down and you have nothing in your hand and you're focused on that person, they know that you are with them. Number 2 is offer resources. Maybe provide access to a mental health resource such as counseling services or stress management workshops. Counseling services like what we call in this part of the world EAP, Employee Assistance Program. I know it's in many organizations around the world. That is one provider. There are several providers, but they have people who are, it's confidential, people can go and get counseling, and the organization will possibly pay for that. Number 3, adjust the workloads. So have a look at people's workloads, maybe reevaluate things and the deadlines, but make sure and ensure that they've got a manageable and aligned sort of view that you have and they have of their capacity and what they need to do. But also understand what other team members' capacity is as well. Sometimes we tend to load a lot onto 1, 2, or 3 of our favorite children in the team, if I can put it that way, and the others don't have as much work to do. So make sure that you're checking all team members' capacity. Number 4 is encourage breaks. So promote the importance of your team members taking regular breaks and time off to recharge. Now, for a lot of people, they have massive leave balances. Make sure that they are using them and encourage them to take holidays. But you know what? If you're going to take a holiday and you're going to take some time out, please stay away from your phone. Please stay away from emails. Delegate and allow them to step up and don't do it. Because if you do it, when they go on holiday, they think they have to do the same thing as well. Number 5 here is lead by example. Demonstrate healthy stress management practices and self-care and set a positive example for your team. It really does come down to you being that role model, you showing people how to do it properly. Well, leadership stress, and that's if you let it be stressful for you, is a critical issue that recognizes attention and proactive management. It's that proactive management that I'm talking about. It's about you understanding or recognizing the signs of stress and implementing effective strategies. That's where you as a leader can safeguard your mental health and create a supportive environment for your team. If you can prioritize mental well-being, not only enhances the leadership effectiveness, but also fosters a resilient and productive organization. If there's anything I can do to help you, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm doing this a lot for a lot of people, just talking it through, letting them talk. I ask just a few questions to help them with their thinking and what's going on for them, and a lot of them are actually really finding it very helpful for them. So if you're wanting to do that, feel free to send me a private message on direct message via social media, either on Facebook Messenger or on LinkedIn Messenger. And if you want to send me an email, dennis@leadingchangepartners.com. Don't forget to download the 10 Ways to Lead in Today's World. Go to the show notes. The link is there. And make sure you pick up that as well. But hey, listeners, that's it for this episode. It's always a pleasure being with you. Thanks for joining me on the Leadership is Changing podcast. Until next time, bye for now.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Leadership is Changing with your host, Denis Gianoutsos. Each week, we and our guests provide information and insights through exploring leading change, inspiring executives and leaders to adapt and lead a bigger game in a fast-moving world.